who I am. So it's just, it's awakening. It's cool.
I really couldn't even take up for myself.
You did something that caused him so much pain, so much suffering.
Britney Spears might have made the choices that she did, but the sole reason for those choices has always been Hollywood.
The bad part is when you start believing them.
According to Britney Spears' latest claims, the Hollywood entertainment industry and its celebrity inhabitants are a toxic environment, complete with all the highs and lows that the singer has portrayed them. According to Britney Spears' latest claims, the Hollywood entertainment industry and its celebrity inhabitants are a toxic environment, complete with all the highs and lows that the singer has portrayed them to be. And since she's chosen to hold nothing back, how about we do the same and take it all in, one piece at a time? Here's everything you need to know. Britney's latest book pulls no punches. It's a complete revelation of her life story, both the highs and lows, one that's exposing Hollywood for what it is. Not to mention, Britney Spears has admitted in her candid assessment that she has never been comfortable with the amount of control her family has had over her life, revealing that she has always felt like a prisoner around them. She has had enough of other people telling her story for the past 15 years, and now she is taking leadership.
And so, yeah, I've been really kind of nervous, the anticipation before, but it's so far.
Throughout the book, Britney falls into reflective pauses and freely acknowledges the errors in her past behavior. For example, she admits to kissing Wade Tosin when she was still in a relationship with Justin Timberlake. But before you charge her for being a bad person, take a look at what's next. You see, in her book, she reveals that Justin was the one who broke up with her via text message. Naturally, after the breakup, Britney felt that she had been unfairly portrayed as a heartbreaker. This was especially true because she was in Louisiana at the time, whilst Justin was basking in the spotlight in Hollywood. And although Britney made it clear that the encounter consisted only of a kiss and took place after she learned that Justin had been unfaithful to her. Notably, Britney has always been willing to take responsibility for her actions, notably during her interview with Diane Sawyer, in which she hinted at the betrayal without directly naming Wade as the perpetrator.
I'm human, just like you and everybody else, and I make a lot of mistakes too.
Moving on, Britney also thinks back to an unforgettable occasion she shared with Wade Robson at a Spanish pub where the two of them were drinking and having a private moment together. Despite this, she and Justin are said to have worked through the infidelity and decided to move past it because of the years of commitment she had shown to him. But Hollywood men being who they are, Justin's Cry Me a River music video, which included a Britney doppelganger, portrayed her as the unfaithful villain, intensifying years' worth of accusations that had already been circulating.
You broke his heart. You did something that caused him so much pain, so much suffering. What did you do?
But not only does Justin Timberlake have high stress regarding Britney's biography, but Christina Aguilera does as well.
Are you hoping that you're in it?
I don't know. Am I hoping?
During a recent interview, Christina expressed her interest in learning whether or not she is included in the book, stating that she would love to be the center of attention rather than Jimmy. And for those of you who like snoozing off under a rock, throughout both of their careers, the two singers have been compared and there have been allegations spread about Justin allegedly being involved with Christina. To make it all even more complicated, Christina even decided to stop following Britney on Instagram after the singer made a comment that appeared to be a kind of body shaming directed toward Christina. Of course, after more consideration, Britney modified her initial statement to emphasize that she would never purposefully body shame another person. Still, in the midst of all of these personal variables, there may be more important issues for Christina, notably concerning her connection with Justin and how it developed over time. Now, if you think that being with Justin was the only problematic relationship she had, well, think again. For one, Britney's traumatic breakups, especially the one she went through with Kevin Federline, led her to become dependent on Adderall as a means of coping with the emotional turmoil that she was experiencing. In her new book, she refers to it as her drug of choice, claiming that it provided her instant relief from her despair. Britney also asserted that her wild behavior, as it was portrayed in the media, was actually a representation of her sadness, particularly after the loss of her aunt and during the postpartum depression she had after giving birth. Not to forget, Britney also went through some really hardcore sadness, as she attempted to come to terms with the fact that she would no longer be able to care for her children after her custody battles with Kevin Federline were ultimately lost. And while all that went down with people from the industry and outside her home, her family served to play an equally painful role in her years of downfall. You see, Britney reveals a rather odd fact about her parents, which is that they gave her permission to start drinking when she was only in the 8th grade. You heard that right? This happened after her time in the Mickey Mouse Club. And surprisingly, she describes this part of her life as wonderfully normal. She even got to experience high school events like homecoming and prom all drunk and high on cocktails. Yep, devastating. And even when she was in the 8th grade, she and her mother would drink cocktails together while driving the 2 hours from Kentwood to Mississippi. They referred to their beverages as totus, and Britney cherished the time she was able to spend drinking with her mother. She explains that the way that they drank was different from the way that her father did. When he drank, he felt more grief, but when they were with her mom, they had a better time, felt more alive, and had more exciting adventures. And just when you think all that should have been reported to the authorities, and that social services should have taken some action, Britney thinks otherwise. According to the singer, she is aware that drinking alcohol with a parent at such a young age and driving for 2 hours to do it may appear strange to some people, but she has emphasized that the experience was memorable and pleasurable for her, and that those were the only moments in her life when she didn't feel scared around her parents. Moving on and breaking the hearts of millions of her fans, Britney Spears has also exposed the biggest villain in her life, her father Jamie Spears. Now, many of you must be aware of the kind of person he has been to Britney all these years, but what you don't know is about the ways he has caused the singer pain. According to the singer, her dad only saw her as a way to make money. Britney recalls how, after he controversially took control of her money and personal life, he mockingly said, "I'm Britney Spears now." According to Britney, her father even allegedly warned her that he would take legal action against her if she did not agree to check into treatment in 2018.
I'm just so relieved that this is over with.
Speaking like she should have all those years, in her memoir, Britney is now finally sharing sad details about how closely they watched everything she did during her conservatorship. For example, she argues that she was treated unfairly, as if she were a criminal, even though she was healthy enough to work nonstop. They saw her as too sick to make simple decisions for herself but found her quite all right to make them millions, which she finds really unfair. And if that wasn't enough, Britney peels even more layers off. Going back to the beginning of her conservatorship, Britney discloses in her writing that she was believed to be too sick to choose her own partner at the time. She was declared fit to appear on sitcoms and morning shows, but was asked to perform for enormous crowds all around the world on a weekly basis, which was a really strange decision. Honestly, the revelations in Britney's book are truly shocking. Fans who have read her book are revealing how she compares the life she led during her conservatorship to that of a convent community, describing how it felt like she was living in complete isolation. In her book, Britney has even admitted that her phone had apps with parental controls and that she was provided with pre-packaged envelopes of her medication while being watched by security officers. Of course, the singer's struggles didn't end just there. Britney Spears is known for fighting to get rid of the control her parents have had on her all these years, and the world knows it too. According to various reports, during her first court appearance, Britney didn't hold back. She stated that her father and others who were involved in the conservatorship and management deserved to be imprisoned for their participation in punishing her when she refused and tried to take a stand for the truth. According to reports, Britney's father, Jamie, also frequently forced her to leave the house when she disobeyed him and appeared to have discovered other means to discipline his daughter. Meanwhile, remember, in 2007, one of the most significant paparazzi moments occurred when Britney shaved her head in front of 70-some photographers after leaving rehab? You heard that right. In her upcoming memoir obtained by various media outlets, Britney shares that this drastic act was her way of coping with the constant scrutiny she faced growing up. She expresses how being judged for her appearance since her teenage years led her to push back through acts like shaving her head, but then it happened. The situation reached a breaking point in 2018 when she was forced to spend more than 3 months in rehabilitation as a result of arguments with her father. Evaluations of her mental health were the first step, which led to the conclusion that she required therapy with a monthly cost of $60,000. Britney asserts that her father threatened her with legal action and public humiliation if she did not comply with his demands. And, to make it all even worse, the trials that Britney went through while being held at these facilities have shocked the world. Lithium, an intensive mood stabilizer that is normally used for treating mental diseases such as mania, hypomania, and bipolar disorder, was the medication that was recommended to her for months on end.
He immediately the next day put me on lithium.
Britney states that she was held captive against her will for several months, during which time she was unable to go outside, drive a car, or even have privacy when engaging in basic tasks like taking a bath. She talks of not having any control over her own life, including having to get her blood tested every week and being unable to lock the door to her room. But with every hardship comes ease, and the singer also finally found her way out. During her time at the rehab facility, Britney became aware of the viral Free Britney movement, which deeply resonated with her. In her book, she thanks her fans for their support, particularly at the beginning of the process. Still, she found that it was difficult for her to see documentaries about her life, and even though she feels that people's intentions were genuine, it upset her to watch those close to her, such as Felicia, who had been her assistant for a long time, speak out without asking her first. Despite the ongoing media coverage, the most significant relief for Britney Spears came when she learned that her father no longer controlled her life, and fans did too. According to the singer, she felt a sweeping sense of relief, knowing that the man who had instilled fear in her as a child and practiced authority over her as an adult was no longer in charge. Britney acknowledges both physical and emotional damage from over a decade of mistreatment, where she mentions migraines as just one small part of the toll, emphasizing that her family might not fully grasp the extent of the real damage caused by the conservatorship.
They watched me change every day, morning, noon, and night. My body, I had no privacy door for my room. I gave 8 gallons of blood a week. If I didn't do any of my meetings and work from 8 to 6 at night, which is 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, no days off, I wouldn't be able to see my kids or my boyfriend.
Apart from the torment and years of pain and lies, Spears surely has grown a lot as a person and seems to have learned a lot too. Take for instance the time when Britney discusses her time spent in the movie studio in 2002 working on the production of Crossroads. It comes as a shock when she admits that she was solely to blame for the difficulty she experienced during that time. According to her, she began to use the method acting technique, totally immersing herself in the role of Lucy to the point where she started to lose touch with her own personality as Britney. The distinctions between her real life and the persona she created in her mind were increasingly blurry for her, which presented a big obstacle for her to overcome. But after everything that Spears has been through, she still manages to shine as an inspiration to others who are going through tough times of their own, showing them that they too can keep going and walk out stronger.
I feel like that's really important, just to spread joy, and be a happy person.
And if you haven't already, will you be giving Britney's memoir a read? Let us know in the comments below. To catch us for more updates, hit the bell icon.